Kajillionaire, Soul from Disney Pixar, our top 5 World War II movies, and a fight over Sci-Fi Channel movies, and much, much more. This is The Movie Show.
You talking to me?
Here, looks like you boys have seen a lot of action.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
Why so serious?
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
Hello and welcome to The Movie Show with myself, Greg Fisher, and my colleague, Dave Roberts. We've got a fun-packed show, so we're going to get straight into it this week. Let's go!
We kick things off with What Have You Been Watching, where we talk and discuss about the cinema we've been watching this week. So, wow, Greg, what have you been watching?
I watched an old film from 1988. It's like a French film called The Bear. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. It's quite a strange film, but really enjoyable because it's told from the perspective of this little orphaned bear cub. It's kind of like the Bambi thing at the very start. Its mother gets killed in an accident.
Oh, yes.
It's not a hunting accident like Bambi, but hunting does come into it because this little cub's left on its own to fend for itself, but it ends up becoming like best friends with this giant grizzly bear that these two hunters are tracking through the wilderness. I think it's like based in, America in the late 1800s. And these guys set out to get this bear. It's got Checky Cario in it, which most people will know as the bad guy from Bad Boys, the Will Smith film. But it's really good fun. Like I said, told from the perspective of the bear. So you almost get performances from this bear cub and the big grizzly bear. And if you look on like IMDb and that, they're actually listed as the actors. I mean, it was quite a while ago now, over 30 years ago. So I'm not sure whether it would meet up to animal rights standards these days in terms of forcing animals to perform and that. But I felt it was a really nice film in terms of it showed it from the bear's perspective, and it's very much wilderness orientated and on the side of nature, so to speak. But yeah, I caught up with that this week. I don't know what it was. I think people were talking about things like The Edge, and there's one or two other bear movies out there that you can sort of see, and it got me thinking about the bear, and I thought I'm going to watch that. So, what about you, mate? What have you been seeing?
Well, I took the opportunity to watch the new Aaron Sorkin film on Netflix,
right.
The Trial of the Chicago 7.
Cool.
Great political drama. It's only Sorkin's second film as director, but obviously we all know him as fantastic writer, tremendous ability, writes dialogue at a million miles an hour. I love A Few Good Men, The West Wing, Newsroom from a couple of years ago, a big fan of. So right up my street as soon as I kind of saw it advertised. And the film's based on the story of the Chicago 7, where a group of 8 defendants were charged by the federal government with conspiracy back in the 60s.
So it was like Steve McQueen, Yul Brynner, James
That's
Coburn.
It. It was basically like a riot in Chicago over the Vietnam War. Obviously, there was a lot of them back then, and kind of a famous trial that happened. It was a counterculture movement, but obviously it descended into chaos. The police versus the protesters.
Just like these days, Trump's America.
It's very kind of apt release, I think, and kind of there's a lot of parallels in there between what's happening now and the current political discourse, and obviously the what was happening at the time. But great film, kind of as you expect from a Sorkin film. It's a courtroom drama, but the witty, zippy dialogue that he's amazing at creating. It's got a great cast. Sacha Baron Cohen, great performance. Eddie Redmayne, Gordon-Levitt, cool. Michael Keaton, Jeremy Strong. Big cast, tremendous cast, really strong. All of them giving electric performances. But the film is really driven by Sorkin and his dialogue, and he's got that knack of writing debates and speeches that just are so fresh and exciting. That turns what could be boring kind of stuff into really exciting stuff. But tremendous film. I reckon anyone to go check it out. It's on Netflix now. It's it came out the other day, so it's a really good film.
Great. And if you want to know more in-depth thoughts about Dave's opinion of this film, you can read his review on moremovies.co.uk, which is sitting there as we speak.
So there we go. That's what we've been watching this week. 2 really great films. We recommend you go check them out. And if you want to see more of our reviews, remember to check us over at moremovies.co.uk.
Okay, now it's time for Movie of the Week. This week, we've got a film called Kajillionaire, which I've been looking forward to seeing for a long, long time. Haven't I, Dave?
You have indeed.
Written and directed by Miranda July, stars Evan Rachel Wood, Richard Jenkins, Deborah Winger, of all people, and Gina Rodriguez. A really good sort of quirky, independent-style comedy about a very, very dysfunctional family of fraudsters, scammers, shall we call them. Kind of really oddball humour, a really fantastic love story in the middle of it all, a film about emotions, a film about boundaries, a film about dysfunctional families. As I say, I couldn't wait to see this. It's been building up for a little bit of time since we saw the trailer. Dave and I have both had a chance to see it this week. Dave, what did you think of Kajillionaire?
Yeah, I mean, it's not my usual kind of film. I think we talked about this. Like, probably it's not the film I would go to first of all. But I was intrigued when I saw the trailer. I remember you sent it me a few months back, and it did intrigue me as something to be interested in. And I was really kind of pleasantly surprised by it. It was a really enjoyable film. I don't, it's not some kind of masterpiece film or anything like that. But I think it was a really interesting film. I mean, it was a really different film. It's probably the key word I would prescribe to it. It was so different from things that are out there and things that are doing.
Yeah,
I've not really seen.
It's quite original, isn't it? It's quite unique.
It is original, and I've not really seen much of Miranda July's work.
Well, she hasn't
before,
done a hell of a lot so far.
No.
I mean, she's been going for a while. She's wrote books, short stories. She did write and direct Me, You, and Everyone We Know, which was a great film. Had John Hawkes in it a couple of years ago. It was kind of, again, an awkward sort of indie rom-com. There was another one called The Future, which I haven't seen yet, so I can't speak on, but I would be interested to see on the strength of Kajillionaire and You, Me, and Everyone We Know. There was many moments in this film I just sat here, I was laughing out loud watching it, with Richard Jenkins as the dad and stuff.
Just moments that make you almost like choke laugh, kind of like,
because you don't know what to expect next. I mean,
that's it.
To set it up, basically, Evan Rachel Wood is like a 26-year-old that's been brought up by these two people that have brought her up to just basically be their gopher, be their mole for all the little scams they do. They steal stuff from post offices. They're always trying to scam people. They owe their landlord loads of rent, and they live in this kind of office space, don't they, next to this bubble factory, which keeps leaking bubbles into the wall.
It's like a very derelict kind of warehousey kind of place, isn't it?
Yeah, not homely at all. Completely just used because it's easy, and that's, I suppose, represents the sparsity of their life and the transience. But I'd highly recommend it. I'd say anyone who enjoys a good quirky indie comedy should enjoy this. So fans of anything from, I don't know, Wes Anderson to God knows what would get into this sort of peculiar movie.
Yeah, I think it's definitely in that kind of area. You see someone like Wes Anderson, stuff like that. That kind of it had that indie feel, that lovely. It has that color palette these days.
Yeah,
and it was very nicely shot. But more than anything, the performances drove.
Oh yeah,
the film. I thought. Evan Rachel Wood
it was just amazing.
Dolio was amazing,
and Gina Rodriguez as well, so good.
Their chemistry to me was just electric. Yeah, the kind of romance storyline going on was really beautiful.
Yeah, it was really cool.
Richard Jenkins as the dad,
and Deborah Winger as the mum. I didn't
guy.
even realize it was her until the credits came at the end, because I just didn't sort of take it in, and I was afterwards just like, that was Deborah Winger. Out of Officer and a Gentleman and all that stuff she did in the 80s. And then to see her playing this kind of, really weird sort of dowdy mother figure. She was a hell of a mother figure. But
but yeah, like Richard Jenkins reminded me of like a strange blend of Larry David and Chevy Chase. It was like so funny and peculiar.
That's perfect. Yeah, that's a perfect mashup.
But it was really great performances throughout. And different and quirky, so definitely one I think. Yeah, go check it out.
Definitely. And now it's time to go over to New York City to everybody's favourite crime boss. It's Don Corleone's Film Reviews.
Hello, this is Don Corleone with another film review for the Cinema Plus podcast. This week's film is called The Siege of Firebase Gloria. It was requested by one of our listeners. Well, it's about a bunch of kidnappers, these Mamalukes right here. They go from village to village in the jungle and kidnap small children, sell them later on the black market. It's a bit like Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, but with more bang bang. See, they get this small child and scoop him up, and God knows what'll happen to him. You end up in a life of slavery. If anybody tried to do this with my children, they would be suffering this very day. So, child's father comes home from a hard day's work. He finds out his son is missing. This is where the action begins. These guys think they're cute. They smuggle the child out on a helicopter. But not a thing happens in this jungle without this guy finding out about it. He's got his eyes on him. He calls his own family together. He knows where they've took this kid. Yeah, you guessed it. Firebase Gloria. So, he puts the call out to his aunts, his uncles, his cousins, sisters, brothers. Come along with me. Bring your rifles. Cross the river to Firebase Gloria. We're gonna get my son back. Before they know it, this guy leads a full frontal assault. These kidnappers don't know what's hit them. They're in serious trouble now. As you can see, this is an incredibly large family. Must be at least 200 strong running up that hill. Some of them don't even have weapons with them. I mean, there's explosions going off and bullets flying, but look at this guy in the blue shirt. Where the hell's he going? So they manage to breach the barricades and start to dish out a bit of jungle justice to these kidnappers. I've gotta say, I don't really feel like this movie is very realistic. It's definitely not what it looks like when you shoot somebody. And take it from me. I mean, watch this, this guy shoots these chicks and they just blow up. That's not possible. Not without a lot of gasoline. Anyway, the assault continues, and they push in closer, looking everywhere for this kid. A lot of blood being spilled, all for the sake of one child, but as you know, family is family. There's nothing more important than that, right? So the kid makes a break for it. The father's still fighting off the kidnappers one by one. Finally gets into a hand-to-hand combat with this jabroni here. Gonna have to take him out with a blunt instrument. Now this guy, he sees the kids escaped. He's obviously on some kind of drugs, cause look at his face. But don't worry, the father's there in time. Watch out, fella. He's a good shot. Bang. Take it from me, you don't want to get shot there. Possibly the worst place you can get shot. So all's well that ends well. The father rescues his son. They manage to escape with their lives from Firebase Gloria. They've lost a lot of the family in the attempt, but at least they've been reunited. Everybody loves a story with a happy ending, right? Well, I give this movie 1 Corleone out of a possible 5. Not the greatest. Hope you can join me again next week for another film review. Thanks for listening.
Just...
Wow.
What? What?
I don't know.
Okay. And now it's time for movie news. We kick things off with the story that's come out this week about Disney and Pixar and their new film Soul, which is due out at Christmas. Cinemas across Europe have released statements saying they are completely dismayed by the news that's come out that it's not going to be theatrically released and it's going straight to their streaming service, Disney Plus, video on demand. And obviously cinemas around the world really are kind of very upset at this because it is going to be a big, winter release for them at Christmas, and the future of cinema, how is it going to change kind of thing. It kind of follows on from what we were talking about last week, doesn't it, Greg?
Exactly. And I think there's two sides to the story here. There's the one side that says, oh, don't start just releasing these big movies on your own streaming platform because that's the way it's going to go and theatres are going to close and it's going to change the way we consume this media. Or there's the other side of it that says, stay home, stay safe, don't catch the pandemic, the disease this year. Watch Soul on demand.
Yeah, there's a difference between the kind of the short term and the long term, and I think that's what people are kind of confused. And it's like, well, yes, this is happening in the short term because of what is obviously happening at the moment, and cinemas are closed, so and they're probably not going to open.
I think this is one of the problems nowadays, that when people start to talk about these problems, they talk about it as if that's the be all and end all. If this happens, it's all going to change forever. But that's not the way things go. Things are constantly in flux. They're constantly developing. Sometimes they're regressing back to what they were. Sometimes they're, moving forward and evolving to something new. I don't think it's a major problem for theatres. If Disney wants to try this one out, I mean, there is the implication that if it goes well and they might do this in future, but, we are the ones that get to decide, not the big companies. We are the ones who get to decide what happens. If we want to continue to go to theatres and watch movies, then we'll continue to do that. And as long as that demand is there will be theatres open for us to go and see. So we're the ones that decide, not the big cheese at the company, and I think that's something people should remember. We're the ones with the power to the people.
Absolutely. And I think there is an element of kind of, is the landscape changing? Yes, it has been for the last 5 to 6 years, really. Netflix and Amazon Prime and stuff have come in and changed part of the atmosphere. Disney have obviously come out with Disney Plus in the last 12 months. They're wanting to push that. They're putting money behind it, so they're going to release big films on the platform.
Sure.
They've used that as an opportunity now, because it's not going to cinema, to go, well, we'll push the platform at the same time. Will films come out on these platforms again in the future?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Of course.
But I think there's a difference between, like, would I expect something like Bond or big blockbusters to come out on these platforms? No. That's event cinema, and that's why they'll be released in the theatres.
Yeah.
But other things, they may take more chances on and go, well, it doesn't cost as much, and we can put it out on our platform, and it can justify the money for it. So there's pros and cons and benefits and all kinds of things to consider long term.
Absolutely. The other thing in the movie news this week I noticed that I wanted to bring up with you was the David Arquette thing. Have you seen this? You cannot kill David Arquette. I mean, obviously at the moment he'd be working on Scream 5 and shooting that because that's in the pipes and stuff at the moment. But I also seen that he was doing this thing, and I didn't actually know that he had this whole career in wrestling as well. So you being such a wrestling fan, me being a novice and knowing nothing about it, I thought I'd ask you about it and see what you thought.
Yeah, so he was in it was back 1999, I think, or 2000. He was in a film, I think it was Ready to Rumble, I think it was called.
Okay.
It was a terrible film. It was produced by
well, it was wrestling, of course it was terrible.
What?
But it was kind of released in conjunction with WCW, and Hulk Hogan was there at the time, and they did this whole thing, and as a kind of cross promotion, they decided to bring David Arquette in, and he had a match and stuff. But then for some bizarre reason, instead of just having one match, let him punch someone and go away, they decided to carry on going for probably a few months, where he won the world championship and was in all these crazy like cage matches and stuff.
Wow. He was obviously enjoying himself.
Oh yeah, he loved it at the time. I think since
that
then,
that smell of sweaty lycra was just
too much to handle.
Yeah.
But I think since then he's kind of like, he said it was fun in some ways, but some of the kind of vitriol he got from some of the fans was perhaps a bit too much, because obviously they were like, you're ruining our sport kind of thing, and it was kind of like, come on guys,
embrace love, circles, energy, good things, keep it going.
It's kind of funny to see him coming back and doing some more stuff, obviously. It's been quiet for quite a while, and Scream 5 is obviously going to be coming out, and that's a classic.
Exactly.
Kind of real laugh. And it's interesting that he's kind of embraced it again and gone, let's do something about it.
Absolutely. So, I wonder what Courtney Cox thinks of it all.
Courtney Cox, I love you.
Okay. Well, that's our movie news this week.
Let's get ready to film fight!
Okay, everybody, it's the film fight. This week's topic is the Sci-Fi Channel. I remember the Sci-Fi Channel being launched all those many, many years ago, and I've watched
Back
its
in the 1800s,
progress.
wasn't it?
Yeah, very good. War of the Worlds. Yeah, I remember it coming out, and I've watched its progress ever since, pretty much on and off over the years. I don't think it's... I mean, I'm not a massive fan of it, but I don't think it's all that bad. Dave, you don't like it at all, do you?
I don't.
Well,
Not at all.
we're going to give you 1 minute to tell us why. Go.
Well, you know, they talk about films being so bad they're good. And that was a craze, I think, started really in the 80s with the kind of direct-to-video, mainly horror films. I don't prescribe to that idea at all. I think if something's bad, it's bad generally. There's not many things that are so bad they're good. And I think Sci-Fi Channel fits straight into that category if they're just really bad films. They try to make blockbuster-level films, disaster movies, and all that kind of stuff, but with the production budget of a student film from Brighton, you know, it's just shocking. And terrible actors, terrible dialogue, terrible stories all come together with crap special effects to just make some of the worst movies I've perhaps ever seen. You know, Sharknado, Age of the Dragons, Monster Island, they're all, you know, even just the titles can tell you how bad of a film they're going to be. And they're also equally responsible for some of the worst sequels to ever come out, like Highlander 5, you know, Species 3, which is like the worst in their class, really.
And that's your minute.
There we go.
Well, Highlander 5, I don't think I've ever seen that.
Yeah, the Highlander the Source. It's.
Is that based on the TV series?
I think it was, yeah.
Do I even want to know?
I remember
Is
vaguely.
it even worth my time to look into?
It really isn't now.
All right. Okay, so here's my minute of rebuttal, sparring with you. Okay, the Sci-Fi Channel, it has produced some excellent content over the years. Things like Sharktopus, Two-Headed Shark Attack, Malibu Shark Attack, Sharknado, of course, which you mentioned, which is fantastic. I mean, this idea of things that are so bad they're good, I think that just comes down to taste. Some people, that's the only type of movies they watch. And if people enjoy movies like that for that reason, I think that's totally fine. Anyway, I mean, you've got they put stuff on over the years like Rod Serling's Night Gallery, which is a tie into The Twilight Zone, which Dave loves. Obviously, also they had Star Trek. I don't know whether you knew, but on the original board, you had Gene Roddenberry and Isaac Asimov as advisors on the board. So that's pretty big guns coming there in terms of the world of sci-fi. So you had all the great Star Trek stuff on there. They also had some WWE wrestling on there at one point. They had SmackDown and all sorts as well. So come on, Dave, you're not ignoring Sci-Fi Channel when the wrestling's on, surely. At ECW and stuff like that on. But yeah, I think, you know, it has its place. It has put some crap out. But is it as bad as Movies for Men? No, it's not. It's infinitely better than that. So,
well, the thing is, I think they may have done some okay TV programming, but usually it's like external.
Well,
source
absolutely,
stuff
they did. They did Battlestar Galactica,
but
that's the new
movies,
Battlestar
really.
Galactica, the good one that everybody loves. They were basically responsible for putting that out. So, you know,
yeah, and that was very good. But the movies they produce, as kind of focusing more on the movies that they produce. That's where it gets terrible because they just can't afford it, really.
Sharknado is a terrible film, but it's supposed to be.
Oh.
And have you ever sat down and watched it all? It's fantastic.
I did. It's awful.
It's a fantastic film.
It was, you know, I would have probably enjoyed Pleasure in a Goat more than watching that film.
You would have. Yeah, you dirty little pagan.
It's just.
Well, we'll leave it to our viewers. Sci-Fi Channel, yay or nay? It's up to you guys.
So now it's time for the quiz here on the movie show. We're going to this week show some more stills, and Greg's going to guess what the film is. We actually do this over on our Twitter, so if you want to follow us on @moremovies4, we're going to do this every week. And if you're listening on our podcast on Spotify or one of those networks, and you obviously can't see the images, come over to our YouTube channel and check out, and you can join in with us. Feel free to join in at home and leave your scores in the comments below afterwards, but no cheating. Right, Greg, are you ready?
I'm ready, sir.
Let's get going. Okay, number 1.
It's Old Man Steptoe, Wilfred Bramble. Harold. That's A Hard Day's Night?
Correct. A Hard Day's Night, The Beatles.
Of course, it's A Hard Day's Night, The Beatles.
Okay, number 2.
Ooh, that's Steve Rogers, Captain America. Which one is it, though? Ooh, man. Is that Winter Soldier?
Correct. It's Winter Soldier.
All right.
Okay, number 3.
Ooh, Seven Samurai?
No.
Oh, is it Hidden Fortress?
It's Hidden Fortress.
Damn! Damn you!
Okay, number 4.
Oh, I've just read the morning papers this morning. This is John Rhys Davies as Sala in Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade.
Correct.
Great character. Love that.
Indiana was the dog. Okay, number 5.
Oh, Knives Out. It's got to be Knives
Great
Out.
film. It is Knives Out, correct.
Oh, such a good film. Really enjoyed
Great
that.
film.
Advise everyone I know to see it. Every time I see anyone I know that I know hasn't seen it, I say, I've seen Knives Out.
And be sure to check out our review of it on our website.
Absolutely.
Number 6.
Ooh, that is James Coburn in a Western. Ooh, which one is that? Man alive, this one's tough. I don't know. Pass. What film's that?
I'll give you a clue, see if you can get it after the clue. Bob Dylan did the score.
Oh, is it? Is it Pat Garrett versus Billy the Kid? Or Pat
Not
Garrett
bad,
and
Billy
Billy the Kid, is it?
That's correct, yeah.
Bloody hell. I seen that film so long ago and I've never gone back to it because I didn't really rank it, but there we go. You got me there, buddy.
Okay, number 7.
This guy, he played, I know he played Blofeld in one of the Bonds, didn't he?
He did.
I can't remember the actor's name. He's a really good actor, though. He's been in loads of stuff. I think he's like a British guy. I don't know what this film is, though. I haven't got a clue.
It's actually the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
No. There we go. That's why. I'm not a fan. It was all right. I watched it once. It wasn't my favourite musical, to be honest.
It's a guy who kind of gives the instructions for the time warp.
It's just a jump to the left.
Put your hands on your hips.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, cool. I remember dancing to that song at school discos many times, but that's about as close as I get to it.
Okay, number 8.
Number 8. Oh my God, you've not made this easy this week, mate. Well done. It's really difficult. Dr. Strangelove.
No, bit earlier than that.
Oh, God. All Quiet on the Western Front. No, is it some sort of comedy?
It is, yeah.
No, I don't know what it is.
It's The Great Dictator.
Is it? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Of course it is. Oh, man, I should have known that. That's a good still there. That's the shell from the giant cannon.
That's it.
I remember now you said it. It's like, oh, yeah.
Okay, number 9.
Kingsley Ned Zissou, Your Correspondence stock arrived. That's one of my favourite films, Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou.
Correct.
Kingsley Ned Zissou. Great.
And the last one, number 10.
As Vertigo.
Vertigo, the Alfred Hitchcock classic.
Yeah.
Of course.
Very cool.
Wow.
There we go.
6 out of 10 this week.
It was a good one. No, fair dues. It should be tricky. And there's some of them I should have got The Great Dictator. Why I even said Dr. Strangelove. I think I was thinking of Slim Pickens, at the end, riding down on that bomb.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, yeah, good one. Okay, it's time for Top 5. This is where Dave and I will list off our top 5 films of a certain genre or by a certain actor or actress or whatever. So this week's topic is World War II movies. Straight in, at number 5, I have got the classic with Clint Eastwood and Richard Burton, Where Eagles Dare.
Ooh, great choice.
And just
great
for
choice.
Kenny Palermo, if he's watching, I'm just going to say, "Sit down, Colonel," because we love that line.
Classic film. I went for The Dirty Dozen at number 5.
Yeah. Hadn't even occurred to me. It's a great film, that.
Yeah, just one of those kind of more raucous films.
Yeah, it's a bit more fun, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Always loved it as a kid.
Classic. All right. Number 4, I have got the classic Downfall. Hitler in his bunker going mad. Everybody knows the famous meme.
Do you know, that didn't even come to my head as I was doing this list. Absolute classic.
Powerful film.
Probably the best portrayal of Hitler on film, I think.
Yeah. Shows what
the most accurate.
Crazy bad he was. What about you, number 4?
Well, for number 4, I went with The Longest Day.
Oh, yeah. Cool. Massive cast.
Yeah, just the scale and
it was
scope
like
of it.
everybody who didn't fight in World War II in a movie about World War II.
It's got my favourite kind of opening sequence to a war movie for me. I think it's really well done, great music, and that kind of build up of all the different elements that are happening on the day. You know,
cool, classic. All right, number 3, I put Schindler's List.
Absolute classic.
I mean, not everybody would not rush to think of it as a World War II movie, but it is. It is absolutely a World War II movie.
Yeah,
and you know, with the for me, the Holocaust, the most tragic part of World War II, really. And I just wanted to, to put that one in there. I mean, that whole debate about Holocaust movies, etc., is for another time. But yeah, that's why I did number 3 anyway. It's one of my favourite all-time films.
It is truly heartbreaking film and a fantastic piece of cinema. Absolutely. I went for Das Boot, number 3.
Yeah. Is that about that guy who loses his boot in the trench?
Obviously set on the German submarine during World War II.
Wolfgang Petersen.
Absolutely breathtaking film. I think it's one of those films that really captures the claustrophobia of being in such a situation.
The ultimate submarine movie, isn't it? There are a few, Hunt for Red
brilliant.
October, K-19, Widowmaker, probably earlier ones as well, but Das Boot is the one that's, yeah. Okay, number 2, I got A Bridge Too Far, Richard Attenborough classic.
Ah, yes.
Gets slated a lot. For some reason or another, people don't tend to resonate with it for whatever reason, but I always loved it. I always enjoyed it. It's got some, again, ensemble cast. You got Michael Caine, Sean Connery. You got Anthony Hopkins plays a great role in that. Robert Redford, James Caan's in there. I love all the little vignettes and stuff, and for me,
and great set pieces. It's one of them films that's
that bit where Robert Redford, with all his Marines, and they've got to get across the river in those crappy little boats, and he's "Hail Mary, full of grace, Hail Mary, full of grace." It's just brilliant filmmaking.
It's great, great film.
Okay, so that was my number 2. What about you?
I went with David Lean's Bridge on the River Kwai.
Oh, what a great film!
Bit more of a kind of character piece as kind of a war movie, but
it's different, isn't it?
Yeah, really different. Alec Guinness's great performance.
Also covers that forced slavery of the POWs under the Japanese rule over there. True story,
and it's a really kind of obviously it's a kind of one of the epic films from back in those days, and just a really interesting kind of character study of a man that's just hard to pin down. It's not good, not bad.
What have I done?
Lots of facets.
Okay, and that leaves us with the top slot. Do you want to go first? Tell me your number 1 movie.
So I debated this quite a lot because I love World War II movies, and I couldn't pin down. It was hard to pin down the 5, and then I eventually settled on Saving Private Ryan. It's one of the films that speaks for itself, isn't it? That opening sequence is warfare on film, really. It
draws a lot of criticism again, I think, because of the story in the middle. Some people just didn't get on with that for whatever reason. People that usually, are Spielberg haters, basically. But I thought it was a great film. I thought that was a good way to carry us from the D-Day landings to, the battle at the end. I mean, everybody says that opening sequence on the beach is, incredibly realistic, which it is, and it's harrowing to watch. But I always found that battle in the town at the end
later on,
wow,
yes,
just incredibly intense. But as my number one movie, World War II movie, I picked Come and See, which is, that same intensity that I just spoke about in that scene. It's like that from start to finish. It's Russian film, obviously. I know you haven't seen it yet. I keep on at you to see it. But it's not an easy film to watch, though. It's very harrowing. It's told through the eyes of a very young boy who becomes a partisan fighter with some of the forces over in the Russian quarter, and they go up against the Nazis. And it's just about his harrowing experiences over a short period. And he goes from looking, fresh-faced, smiling 12-year-old boy to looking like an old man by the end of the film. And he's only aged a few months, but... it's a difficult film to watch, but for me that was the best.
There we go. 10 really great and very different World War II movies there, I think.
Yeah. All worth a watch.
All worth a watch if you haven't seen them. And if you think there's ones we've missed, do let us know in the comments below.
Please let us know your favourites.
That's it. And now we come to shorts and shout-outs, the part of the show where we talk about independent cinema and give a shout-out to some of our friends on Film Twitter. We kick things off with just a short film that we came across this week called Group B by Nick Rowland. It's about 5 years old now, but it's a British short film produced through the National Film and Television School. A really interesting film. It's about this lad who's a rally driver, and this is his first race back in quite a while after his previous race ended in an accident and his co-driver died during that accident. And so the film, although staged around this idea of it being a rally race, and obviously there's some great cinematography and set pieces going on, very kind of Rush feel to it, it's not really about that. It's about the inner turmoil of this character trying to deal with the fact he's lost his friend and is obviously very anxious about being back on the track in another race, and kind of deals with survivor's guilt more than anything else. So really great film, nice little performances. It's not like a dialogue-heavy film. It's a very picturesque short film, kind of painting the emotions, and conveying the emotions through the performance. Really interesting little film that's well worth checking out. We'll leave a link in the description below for you to see it. It's on Vimeo, and just really great film to go and check out.
Absolutely. Well, that sounds great. I'll be checking that out as well. I just wanted to mention as well, Netflix did a thing over the summer. I don't know if you saw. This was more on the sort of short films side of things. Not so much independent, because they got a load of big names in to kind of get involved in the project. But it's called Homemade, and the idea was to create a bunch of short films about life in lockdown, because obviously that's been the big thing this year for everybody around the world. That one way or another, people have had to experience some form of lockdown during the pandemic. So as I say, it's on Netflix. There's a bunch of different short films. Kristen Stewart's in one of them. A little bit of criticism as well about it being a little bit indulgent and not looking at the true hardships that some people will have faced being in isolation, which I think is fair enough. But also it's worth, I think, worth a look at, especially for aspiring filmmakers to be inspired by that kind of short form content where they can just make something at home, just make something. Just get your camera out, get an idea, and start shooting and make a film. It doesn't always have to be on location and have loads of actors in and have all this intricacies. You can just get a good concept, an idea, and a small idea, and you can make something yourself at home. And I thought for that reason, it's kind of worth mentioning and to have a look at and inspire maybe some young filmmakers.
Yeah, it sounds good. I had to go check it out. I didn't really come across it at the time, but
no, I didn't really. I think it was in the summer. So
yeah, it's nice that Netflix obviously got involved in something like that, because obviously it promotes creating short films and that kind of genre, so it is really good.
Yeah, absolutely. That was my thinking. Also, we'd just like to give a shout out to our friends and family over on the Film Twitter community. So obviously, big thanks to everybody for your likes, retweets, support of our stuff. We love to see your content, and we're learning a lot every week about new films, about new projects, and just generally enjoying the enthusiasm for film and cinema across the Twitter platform. So we'd like to give a shout out to our good friends Skip Bolden, Tico Romeo, Liam Jackson, Kenny Palermo, and everybody over there at Film Twitter. We love you guys. Okay, it's medication time again. Medication time. Dave, this week's topic for Red Pill, Blue Pill is comedies. So get yourself ready, prepared, and here we go. Anchorman or 40-Year-Old Virgin?
Anchorman.
Caddyshack or National Lampoon's Vacation?
Caddyshack.
Airplane or Naked Gun?
Airplane.
Life of Brian or Monty Python's Holy Grail?
Life of Brian.
Shaun of the Dead or Hot Fuzz?
Hot Fuzz.
The Hangover or Bridesmaids?
The Hangover.
Dumb and Dumber or Liar Liar?
Liar Liar.
Groundhog Day or Planes, Trains and Automobiles?
Planes, Trains and Automobiles. That's one of my favourites.
Blazing Saddles or Young Frankenstein?
Blazing Saddles.
Coming to America or Uncle Buck?
Uncle Buck.
Old School or Step Brothers?
Step Brothers.
Zoolander or Tropic Thunder?
Tropic Thunder.
Raising Arizona or American Pie?
I'm going to go for American Pie.
Ferris Bueller's Day Off or The Breakfast Club?
The Breakfast Club. I can see the disappointment in your face, Greg.
Wayne's World or Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure?
Wayne's World.
Happy Gilmore or Team America World Police?
Team America World Police.
The Simpsons or South Park, obviously the movies.
For the movies, South Park.
Tootsie or Mrs. Doubtfire?
Mrs. Doubtfire.
With Nail and I or A Fish Called Wonder?
With Nail and I.
Ali G or Borat?
Ali G.
Ealing Comedy or Carry Ons?
Ealing Comedies.
The Blues Brothers or The Three Amigos?
I'll go with Blues Brothers.
And to finish us off, Chaplin or Keaton?
Chaplin.
There we go. That's all your pills this week. You have been medicated.
I've been medicated. There's some tricky ones in there. Yeah.
Yeah, let us know in the comments what you thought. If you thought Dave was wrong, was very, very wrong about some stuff there, then let us know which ones.
It's all a matter of taste.
It is. Absolutely.
Well, thanks for joining us again here on The Movie Show by the Cinema Plus podcast. I've been David Roberts, and that's been Greg Fisher joining me for the show today.
Thanks, Dave.
It's been great chatting with you, Greg.
You too,
Hope you've enjoyed it.
Yeah, definitely.
Remember to leave your comments below. Let us know what you think, and remember to subscribe and press the bell icon for notifications. And that's it for us this week. Be sure to join us again next week for The Movie Show.